recorded. Okay, text 27. तस्मिन् तदा लब्धरुचिर्महामते प्रियश्रवस्य स्खलिता मतिर्मम यस्याहमेतत् सदसत्स्वमायया पश्येर्मयि ब्रह्मणि कल्पितं परे. O great sage, as soon as I got a taste of the personality of Godhead, my attention to hear of the Lord was unflinching. And as my taste developed, I could realize that it was only in my ignorance that I had accepted gross and subtle coverings, for both the Lord and I are transcendental. So you can see these verses how they are paralleling those second chapter verses. Correct? So just like if you see the next verse, we'll just read the next verse just to see the flow. इत्थं शरत्प्रावृष्टाव ऋतुहरे वृष्णन्वतो मे अनुसमं यशोमलम् संकीर्तयमानं मुनिर्महात्मभिः भक्ति प्रवृत्तात्मरजस्तमोः. Thus, during two seasons, the rainy season and autumn, I had the opportunity to hear these great soul sages constantly chant the unadulterated glories of the Lord Hari. As the flow of my devotional service began, the coverings of the modes of passion and ignorance vanished. This is what? Similar to? Yes. Tadarajastam avakama lobhada yucheta ete navritam stitam sat. So in any case, here the acharyas say that here the word bhakti indicates prema. So this is the stage of prema that is being described. So of course on the prema, the effects of rajas and tamas are totally eradicated. And the previous verse is similar to what? Hmm? No, not the stage, but in the second chapter, which verse is similar to? How do you? This is much ahead. Where in which verse it is mentioned that one realizes one's constitutional position. भिद्यते हृदय ग्रन्थिश्चिद्यन्ते सर्वसंशयः क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि दृष्ट एवात्मनीश्वरे. One realizes oneself and the Ishvara. So here also it is being mentioned. I could realize that it was only my ignorance that had accepted gross and subtle coverings. So there also the false, the Vidyate Hridaya Granthi. What is the Hridaya Granthi in that verse?
Or not attachment.
False ego, yes, ahankar. Ahankar. So only because of ahankar one misidentifies with the gross and subtle body. So here also similar point. So I realized that it was only my ignorance that I had accepted gross and subtle coverings for both the Lord and I transcendental. So these are all the highest stages of devotional service, the level of bhava, prema. So one realizes all these things. Okay, by ignorance only, the conditioned soul wrongly thinks that both he and the Lord are products of material nature. Further down, since the gross and subtle bodies are emanations from the personality of Godhead, the knowledge of light permits one to engage both of them in the service of the Lord. Subtle mind should be, okay. The gross body should be engaged in acts of rendering service to the Lord, bringing water, cleansing the temple, making obeisances. Path of Archana, worshipping the Lord in the temple, involves engaging one's gross body in the service of the Lord. Similarly, the subtle mind should be engaged in hearing the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, thinking about them, chanting His name, etc. All such activities are transcendental. Such realization of transcendental activities is made possible by many, many years of apprenticeship in the devotional service, but simply attraction of love for the personality of Godhead as it was developed in Narad Muni by hearing highly effective. What is the meaning of this statement? Such realization of transcendental activities is made possible by many, many years of apprenticeship in the devotional service, but simply attraction of love for the personality of Godhead as it was developed in Narad Muni by hearing is highly effective.
Service without realization, that is lesser, but it can be achieved how many years one is serving. But one hears the glories of the Lord, it is very easy or
Mhm.
very fastly can develop the love of God.
Okay, okay, good. Okay, Nimantu.
If thinking about this word apprenticeship, uh, maybe it means that when we serve under senior devotees for many years in different situations, okay, in different situations, how to see Krishna philosophy, how to apply Krishna philosophy in practice, so that they will enact out in our life.
Mm-hmm.
Either in their life and we'll get a chance to see, or they will guide us that in this situation you should be thinking like this and acting like this.
Mm-hmm.
By that, gradually, our vision will thoroughly change
Mm-hmm.
towards anything, any situation, any person.
Okay.
And that is how, this is my understanding.
See, it appears that Srila Prabhupada is comparing two things, isn't it? Such realization of transcendental activities is made possible by many, many years of apprenticeship in the devotional service, but there is a but. So that means what is after the but is a different activity.
Differentiation.
But simply attraction of love for the personality of Godhead as it was developed in Narad Muni by hearing is highly effective.
That such is connected to universal statement.
So what's the meaning?
The gross and subtle engagement,
Mhm.
engagement in
Mhm.
service is one thing.
Mhm.
Another comparison is hearing
Mhm.
from Bhaktivedantas and
Mhm.
getting messages like Narada.
Mhm.
It's highly effective.
Okay, okay, fine. So why this hearing is more effective?
Ignorance is removed.
So then by performing all these engaging gross and
Time.
subtle bodies,
Time taking process. Hours, like years only years of apprenticeship.
Mhm.
It is like time taking process,
Okay.
but hearing the glories of the Lord. the
So
faster
hearing
when
is not a
compared-
part of that apprenticeship. Yes, Pam?
It is also said that Prabhu Janmati Kare Shravani Kirtana.
Mhm.
So if that person is doing offensively and he has no
Okay.
love, he is doing apprenticeship for many years, then the result will not come.
Okay, so you are talking about offensive hearing agent.
And then love is also not there.
Okay. So you're saying that somebody is doing apprenticeship but he is committing offenses, there is no love, then it does not produce effect. Okay, that's also correct. Okay, Vishnu.
It appears to me, Pujibis, what I felt Gopal trying to mention is that although one may engage his gross senses in the service of the Lord, but if the mind or the subtle body is not involved, then it may not have much effect. But when the devotee engage, sadhaka engage his mind, and especially the process of hearing and chanting, Gopal mentioned just before of this statement. The subtle and especially in the process of hearing and chanting, as this is the basis of our sadhana bhakti, Shravana Kirtana, then the effect, the same effect is realized for long term of physical services. Although it doesn't undervalue the physical services, but Shravana Kirtanam importance, Prabhupada mentioned that for hearing from such transcendentalists about the glories of the Lord and glories of devotees who are engaging in service of the Lord, that has more effect, faster effect.
Okay, fine, okay, that sounds correct. Yes, Sunil.
So the example of Narad Muni comes as a Kripa Siddha.
Mm.
So the first talks about the apprenticeship, that is sadhana bhakti,
Hmm.
and after receiving the kripa of the Vedantist,
Hmm.
then he developed the taste for hearing. So
Hmm.
that hearing is different than the sadhana hearing.
Hmm.
So that was very fast in bringing him close to Krishna.
Yes, that's correct. So what was the key factor there? Yes, the key factor was the kripa. So apprenticeship means, yes, one is engaging body, mind, senses, everything in Krishna's service, and one is gradually getting purified. That is fine. But if somehow the mercy is attracted, then the progress is very quick. So, therefore, now this is explained by Srila Prabhupada in when he discusses Sudurlava in Nectar of Devotion. So there also it is discussed that one may perform sadhana for many lifetimes. One may perform, both in quantity as well as in quality, but still that may not oblige Krishna to give bhava and prema. Okay, let's read something a little more directly. Somebody open Nectar of Devotion. Others, somebody will think I'm speculating. Nectar of Devotion. This is 6 characteristics. That's the first chapter. Sudurlava. Devotional service is very rare. मिल गया? पढ़ो.
In the preliminary phase of spiritual life, there are different kinds of austerities, penances, and similar process for attaining self-realization. However, if an executor of these processes is without any material desire, he still cannot achieve devotional service. And aspiring by oneself alone to achieve devotional service is also not very hopeful, because Krishna does not agree to award devotional service to merely anyone. Krishna can easily offer a person material happiness or even liberation, but he does not agree very easily to award devotional service, to award a person engagement in his devotional service. Devotional service can in fact be attained only through the mercy of a pure devotee.
Yeah, that's the point. Devotional service can be attained only through the mercy of a pure devotee. Again?
In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 19.151, it is said, by the mercy of spiritual master who is pure devotee, and by the mercy of Krishna, one can achieve the platform of devotional service. There is no other way.
Yes.
The rarity of devotional service is also confirmed in Tantra Shastra, where Lord Shiva says to Sati, my dear Sati, if one is very fine philosopher, analyzing the different processes of knowledge, he can achieve liberation from the material entanglement. By performance of the ritualistic sacrifices recommended in the Vedas, one can be elevated to the platform of pious activities and thereby enjoys the material comforts of life to the fullest extent. But all such endeavor can hardly offer anyone devotional service to the Lord, not even if one tries for it by such processes for many thousands of births. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also confirmed by Prahlad Maharaj that merely by personal efforts or by the instruction of higher authorities, one cannot attain to the stage of devotional service. One must become blessed by the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee, who is completely freed from the contamination of material desire.
Yes, so basically that's the point. So simply by the performance of sadhanas for even many lifetimes, Krishna is not obliged to give bhakti. So therefore, if we think by my own efforts I will I will come to the level of bhava and prema. It doesn't work like that at all. That's not the way Krishna works. So therefore, that's what we were discussing in the morning also. The principle is yasya prasada bhagavad prasada. That is the principle. That is the only way one can progress. And that's essentially here Narad Muni. Somehow he attracted the grace of those Bhakti Vedantas. He pleased them. And because he pleased them, he got their mercy. And that's how he developed that strong attraction. So that's what is mentioned in the 26th verse. In the 26th verse, what it said? Anugrahena. You saw that? Anugrahena, by causeless mercy, by causeless mercy. In the translation, Prabhupada says, oh Vyasadeva, in that association and by the mercy of those great Vedantas, I could hear them describe the attractive activities of Lord Krishna, and thus, listening attentively, my taste for hearing of the personality of Godhead increased at every step. So this is what Srila Prabhupada is comparing in this statement. So one may do this apprenticeship, the sadhana bhakti for many, many years, but somehow if that does not attract the grace of the Lord, then it will be a very slow process. So that those activities should attract the grace of Guru and Krishna. So also we studied 1.2.8. What is 1.2.8? Dharmasmanushyatapamsa vishvaksena katasuya notpagir yatiratim shrama eva hi evana. So one may perform many activities, duties, but if all those duties somehow don't lead to attraction to the messages of Vasudeva, then it's all useless waste of time. Shrama eva hi evana. So therefore, the important point is that attracting the kripa is very important on the path of bhakti. So otherwise, simply by our own efforts, it is very difficult. And again, that is what Prabhupada is explaining in the purport to text 28. Somebody read the purport text 28. Purport. We read the translation.
Transcendental loving service for the Supreme Lord is the natural inclination of every living being. The instinct is dormant in everyone, but due to the association of material nature, the modes of passion and ignorance cover this form from time immemorial. If, by the grace of the Lord and the great souled devotees of the Lord, a living being becomes fortunate enough to associate with this unadulterated devotees of the Lord and gets a chance to hear the unadulterated glories of the Lord, certainly the flow of devotional service takes place like the flow of a river. As the river flows on till she reaches the sea, similarly, pure devotional service flows by the association of pure devotees till it reaches the ultimate goal, namely transcendental love of God. Such a flow of devotional service cannot stop. On the contrary, it increases more and more without limitation. The flow of devotional service is so potent that any onlooker also becomes liberated from the influence of the modes of passion and ignorance. These two qualities of nature are thus removed, and the living being is liberated, being situated in his original position.
So if by the grace of the Lord and the great soul devotees of the Lord, living being becomes fortunate enough to associate with the unadulterated devotees of the Lord and gets a chance to hear the unadulterated glories of the Lord, certainly the flow of devotion takes place like the flow of water. Okay, so here again you can see Prabhupada is emphasizing on the grace. The grace is important. And the quality of devotional service is important. Unadulterated devotees, unadulterated glories. So everything has to be unadulterated, pure. Okay, 29. तस्यैवं मे अनुरक्तस्य प्राश्रितस्य हतेन सह श्रद्धानस्य बालस्य दान्तस्य अनुचरस्य च. I was very much attached to those sages. I was gentle in behavior, and all my sins were eradicated in their service. In my heart, I had strong faith in them. I had subjugated the senses, and I was strictly following them with body and mind. So, these are similar qualifications that were previously mentioned also. So, is sort of repeating those qualities. But again, a nice purport, please read.
These are the necessary qualifications of a prospective candidate who can expect to be elevated to the position of a pure, unadulterated devotee. Such a candidate must always seek the association of pure devotees. One should not be misled by a pseudo devotee. He himself must be plain and gentle to receive the instructions of such a pure devotee. A pure devotee is a completely surrendered soul unto the personality of Godhead. He knows the personality of Godhead as the supreme proprietor and all others as his servitors. And by the association of pure devotees only, one can get rid of all sins accumulated by mundane association. A neophyte devotee must faithfully serve the pure devotee, and he should be very much obedient and strictly follow the instructions. These are the signs of a devotee who is determined to achieve success even in the existing duration of life.
These are the signs of a devotee who is determined to achieve success. So, this is the success formula. Okay, so if we are determined, then these are the things that one needs to follow. Necessary qualifications of a prospective candidate who can expect to be elevated to the position of pure unadulterated. So you can see here also how much Prabhupada is emphasizing. Must seek the association of pure devotees, must not be misled by pseudo devotee. And again he says, and by the association of pure devotees only, one can get rid of all sins accumulated by mundane association. Neophyte devotee must faithfully serve the pure devotee. So you can see again and again these points are repeated. The association of devotees, serving the pure devotees. So these are the eternal principles. We discussed these points before also. So one cannot serve the Lord directly. Lord does not accept service directly. It has to go through the medium of the devotees. So in this connection, that's a nice purport I referred to in the morning also, 4.9.1. It's a very nice purport. So maybe we can read that now because it's a very beautiful purport. We can discuss something on that. 11. This is Dhruv Maharaj offering his prayers. So Dhruv Maharaj, he has darshan of the Supreme Lord directly. But still, he is praying for the association of devotees. Okay, somebody read.
Perfect. The significant point in Dhruv Maharaj's statement is that he wanted the association of pure devotees.
You read the translation also.
Dhruv Maharaj continued, O unlimited Lord, kindly bless me so that I may associate with great devotees who engage in your transcendental loving service constantly. As the waves of a river constantly flow, such transcendental devotees are completely situated in an uncontaminated state of life. By the process of devotional service, I shall surely be able to cross the nascent ocean of material existence, which is filled with waves of blazing, fire-like dangers. It will be very easy for me, for I am becoming mad to hear about your transcendental qualities and pastimes, which are externally existent. Which are eternally existent. Purport. The significant point in Dhruv Maharaj's statement is that he wanted the association of pure devotees. Transcendental devotional service cannot be complete and cannot be realizable without the association of devotees.
See, these are some very important statements. Transcendental devotional service cannot be complete and relishable without the association of devotees. Why? Somebody would like to explain? Why devotional service cannot be complete and relishable without association? Yes, Gopalan?
Because one will have its own perspective ideas to the theory of devotion
Mhm.
and may concord the entire principles of devotion service.
Okay, without association one can concoct. Okay, fine. Yes, Aditya.
So, Prabhuji, Parikshit Maharaj, when he asks questions, so Shukdev Goswami gets very jubilant hearing the questions. So, similarly, when we are reading or hearing among the devotees, so they present such a point of view which gives us so much pleasure. So that
Yes, so the discussion gives a lot of pleasure, relishable. And not only just discussion of Krishna Katha, here of course Prabhupada is talking about devotional service in general. Devotional service in general also becomes complete and relishable in the association. So obvious, no? That's one thing, yes, that's correct. But just imagine if you were alone and trying to practice. Would it be easy? So it's very difficult and not only difficult, but it won't be relishable. The association makes it relishable, correct? When we are in the association, there is discussion, there are loving exchanges, all that takes place, then it becomes relishable. So, okay, fine, let's continue. Let's continue reading the purport.
we have therefore established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Anyone who is trying to be aloof from this Krishna Consciousness Society and yet engage in Krishna Consciousness is living in a great hallucination. For this is not possible. From this statement by Dhruv Maharaj, it is clearly that unless one is associated with devotees, his devotional service does not mature. It does not
Unless one is associated, devotional service does not mature. Somebody wants to explain this? Why devotional service will not mature without association? Yes, Jonathan?
There are unripened fruits. When we keep these unripened fruits with the ripened fruits, then these unripened fruits also gets ripened. And also, similarly, sadhakas when we are
This is the modern way of ripening fruits, I think.
modern ways chemical.
Okay, modern way is chemical. This is a Vedic way.
Sometimes,
Acha.
sometimes rotten fruits they take out.
Those others will become rotten.
Same way they keep like.
Okay, fine. So what is your conclusion?
Because they are matured, they are relation,
Mhm.
they are complete.
Mm.
Then we also associate with them.
Mm.
We also become relishable,
Mm.
mature.
Okay, fine. That's a good point. Yes.
Prabhupada gives Krishna the example that some gopis they are not on that level but they can be associated with Krishna.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the example of gopis. Okay, fine.
That if we are alone, then whatever progress we are doing, we'll consider ourselves great only. That
This is a good point.
I am advanced. Like
Yes, if I am alone, then alone we will think I become so advanced. Nobody is there to tell me where I am going wrong, what's happening. Nobody is there. Then what my mind will say? You have become pure devotee. So one will not be able to understand one's position. Usually, when our anarthas come out, everyone has experience when the anarthas come out. In association, then there are some frictions, then how we react in those situations, then we realize what is my position. So in association only one realizes one's position, one's anarthas, and that's how we understand, oh, I thought I became pure, but now I understand, oh, there are so many anarthas. I don't know how to behave properly. Then what we do? Then if one is sincere, one tries to rectify. And that's how one becomes more and more mature. Yes, I do, sir.
When one practices alone, there is a great chance of fall down. Example of Bharat Maharaj.
Yes, so nobody is there to give instructions. Yes, that's correct.
The example of Ajamil also comes because he don't have association that he was contemplating.
Okay, fine. Of course, he had wrong association. He didn't have the right association. Yes. Okay, please continue. Purport.
It does not become distinct from material activities.
Devotional service does not become distinct from material activities. So in the association, one clearly distinguishes, oh, this is material, this is spiritual. This I should avoid, this I should accept. So all this becomes clear.
The Lord says, Satam prasangan mamavirya samvido bhavanti rhatkarna rasayana. Only in association of pure devotees can the words of Lord Krishna be fully potent and releasable to the heart and ears. Dhruva Maharaj explicitly wanted the association of devotees. That association in devotional activities is just like the waves of incessantly flowing river. In our Krishna Consciousness Society, we have full engagement 24 hours a day. Every moment of our time is always busily engaged in the service of Lord. This is called the incessant flow of devotional service. A Mayavadi philosopher may question us.
Okay, fine. I think so that's enough. The other part of the purport is.
In the morning you mentioned this.
Yes, I did quote this verse. Yes.
Other statement also you quoted.
That's Madhya Lila 19th chapter, text 157. That is showing the importance of remaining within ISKCON and practicing devotional service. Okay, fine. Let's continue. Where are we?
Text 30. 29. Now 30.
Okay, 30. Jnanam guhyatamam yatta sakshad bhagavatoditam anvavochan gamishyantah kripaya deenavatsalaha. As they were leaving, those Bhaktivedantas who are very kind to the poor-hearted souls instructed me in that most confidential subject which is instructed by the personality of Godhead Himself. Okay, so as they were leaving, they instructed him in Sakshat Bhagavatotam Jnanam Guhyatamam. So what is the Guhyatamam Jnana which the Lord instructed? Yes. Yes, pure devotional service which He instructed in the Bhagavad Gita. Guhyatamam. Rajvidya Rajaguhyam. So, a pure Vedantist or a Bhakti Vedanta instructs followers exactly according to the instructions of the Lord Himself. The personality of Godhead, both in Bhagavad Gita and all the other scriptures, has definitely instructed men to follow the Lord only. Further down he says, therefore the instruction of the Lord can be understood by devotees only and no one else. The impersonalist who has no idea of the transcendental form of the Lord cannot understand this most confidential message of the Lord. The word most confidential is significant here because knowledge of devotional service is far, far above knowledge of the impersonal Brahman. Okay, so we know that Guhya, Guhyatara and Guhyatamam. When such knowledge is turned into pure devotional service and the confidential part of transcendental knowledge is attained, it is called the most confidential knowledge. This most confidential knowledge was imparted by Lord to Brahma, Arjuna, Uddhav, etc. So this is the knowledge which the Bhaktivedantas gave to Narada. And text 31. Yenaivaham bhagavato vasudevasya vedasaha Mayanubhavam avidam yena gachanti tatpadam. By that confidential knowledge, I could understand clearly the influence of the energy of Lord Shri Krishna, the creator, maintainer, and leader of everything. By knowing that, one can return to Him and personally meet Him. Okay, so by the devotional service, by this knowledge of devotional service, then one understands Krishna and his energies, and then one practices devotional service and one can return home back to Godhead. So as Prabhupada writes, so the Lord desires, as is directly said in the Bhagavad Gita, that all conditioned souls rotting in the kingdom of the material energy come back to Him by giving up all engagements in the material world. This is the most confidential part of knowledge. But this can be understood only by the pure devotees, and only such devotees enter the kingdom of God to see Him personally and serve Him personally. The concrete example is Narada himself, who attained this stage of eternal knowledge and eternal bliss. And the ways and means are open to all. The ways and means are open to all, provided one agrees to follow in the footsteps of Sri Narad Muni. So everyone can get this most confidential knowledge, provided one follows in the footsteps of Sri Narad Muni. Okay, so this is the end of this section where Narad Muni is telling about his life. And then the last section of the chapter is from 32 to 40, which is where again Narad Muni is giving some important instructions to Vyasadeva, and through him, of course, is giving instructions to us as to how one can engage one's activities in his service. Okay, fine. So we will continue after the break, this last section. All right. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Radha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.